Hi, this is Shira Adler, aka, depending on which channel you know me from, Patriot Plant Mama on Telegram, Synergy Goddess, etc. I haven't done a video in a little while because I've been participating more so with my beautiful sister goddess there in the white, depending on how you're looking at the screen. That is Mari Tierney, the founder and architect of NU AlchIME, the quantum DIY toolkit that I'm so honored to now be fully integrating and bringing out in the world. Mari and I do a lot of work together to that effect. And a visitor, a beautiful visitor from really far away, Anastasia down there, who jumped on with us this morning for a very quick conversation, because at the time of this recording, forgive me guys, I'm rocking a puppy in my arms as well. There we go. Yes. This is a conversation about where we are right now. Now, for those who are interested in the NU AlchIME live streams, you will join us on Telegram and go to findaproject.com, find-a-project.com. Look up NU AlchIME. That's NU AlchIME. The reason I'm saying that is just the other day we have had a really beautiful conversation kind of about, well, in general, we speak of how words mean more than we think they mean. My channel and my audience is very interested in things like biblical history, patriotism. We often discuss things about how people take language and quotes, especially from the Bible or the Torah in the Jewish faith tradition. My background is clergy, so I am referencing that, but I'm speaking of the Bible when I'm referencing that. And we often hear phrases like seek and you shall find, turn the other cheek. We look a lot about the concept of God and Jesus and source and all of this fabulous stuff. This is just daily talks for us, all these three chicks here and many more similar conversations. And at the time of this recording, we are right on the cusp of some very large changes. And yesterday's live stream was about how to prepare using the new clarity tool, also called the yes, but tool, to prepare for upcoming change and big events. And we are at the cusp of some rather big events, because if you're in the metaphysical world, if you're in the biblical context of analyzing the world in which we live, if you've been paying attention at all to your soul, to your sense of self, to the great I am to which we are all connected, you've probably been noticing and feeling some of these big changes. And it is the eve, Erev or Eve, of Rosh Hashana, the Jewish High Holy Day. This is the beginning of the 10 days of awe. And Mari and I have been talking about that. And I said, you know what, God, let's just get on and have a conversation quickly. Mari, tell them a little bit just for a moment about awe, because then I'm going to tell you what Rosh Hashanah is really about. And I don't think a lot of people are fully aware, but it's the kind of stuff we're always chatting about. So I want to hear from you too about what does that really mean when we talk about days of awe or periods of awe or fear or God and fear. I know we covered it on our live stream, but can you summarize that for us?
Well, first of all, everyone's going to have their initial idea or picture that comes to their mind with any word, like, because we all think we know what it means, or at least we know what it means based on what we think it means. Otherwise, a lot of core ideas that we use every single day, like awe or fear, I doubt many people have ever even looked it up in the dictionary. Like they resonated, they got the feeling with the sound young, and so they think they know what it means. But in NU AlchIME, we're continuing to explore every idea, and ergo a word here, as a quantum mechanic. What is it? What is its dynamic? How does it work and interact in the quantum realm and beyond either or duality? So it was interesting. I think what you're referencing, Shira, was one of my big epiphanies in as I first worked with fear from all these perspectives that came as answers to my questions, that it had the kind of common definition, something dangerous or in danger. Then it also had awe, and the definition of awe as if towards a deity. Okay, and awe is, for me, it's not only it's an idea, but it's almost like a cosmic resonance sound, how I experienced it. And certainly it invokes that state of wonder.
I'm turning off my cell phone, forgive me, because when you said the cosmic sound, the bell went off. And I just thought,
Thanks for playing, universe. So there is more to understand about fear, and we did a lengthy thing on that, but just understanding that also for this point, that fear, I have arrived to the point of view that fear is, other than emotion, it's an actual high creation state of being. And it includes that state of wonder. Okay. If we have a alignment to experience that spectrum of that mechanic of future event appearing real, fear, most only have agreement that it's negative, so they're only experiencing that high creation state in negative. However, it's simpler and easier to change than it might feel. And there is a whole spectrum of that idea, which we call positive, or towards that which is wanted, that renegotiating your agreement with the idea of fear, and then also with awe and wonder, we open it up. We open up that high creation state with more flow and allowance towards that which is wanted. And so
I think that is so profound,
wonder,
because it is about our ability to open up those higher creation and creativity states. And we've also done live streams about enhancing the creativity. And for more information about that, also people should really take a look at projectvision.world to play with I am clarity and creating those images. And Anastasia, you're super, super creative. You have definitely opened the portal of enhancing your own creativity. So what is your life looking like right now, understanding that concept that Maria just went over? Because I want people to see that someone in your age demographic is already living it, being it, doing it, recognizing it, integrating it.
I'm open to it, and I want it, and it's something that consumes me pretty much all day, every day. So I have this yearning and this, so it's like an explosive energy that just wants to come out and to share, and to have the liberation and the fulfillment that comes with the free-flowing expression. So
you've already traveled halfway around the world. You're in Greece. You're living and creating and making music and art in all forms. You remind me so much of my daughter, and we'll be hearing a little bit from her as well in the future, because she's also now on this radical self journey with New Alchemy as well. And it's just very empowering, very joyful. It reminds me, it's as if we're all celebrating our birthday every day. And I think that's really where I wanted to just have this conversation quickly and touch upon, because when we really understand law of attraction, when we really understand and now apply these beautiful new tools that we have, this quantum DIY toolkit, New Alchemy, because it helps make sense and apply the law of attraction, it really comes down to the sensation of everything feels like we are birthing ourselves anew. We are knowing ourselves anew in every moment. Every time we hold that thought, every time we touch upon this spark, it's like the now, and then the now, and then this new now right here. And with each snap, with each moment, we're birthing ourselves and knowing ourselves anew in a new vibrational mix. I mean, my honey likes to say every time I come back, and I've been basically for over a year on the road, and I go here and there, and I'm called, and I go and I meet people, and he always says I look different, because every time I come back, I've done some other work. I've deepened my understanding. I have celebrated a new birth, a rebirth, my own celebration of birth. That is actually what Rosh Hashana is about. So what people don't understand is, again, when we get caught in the biblical translations of something like, in the beginning, God said, and therefore God is external from us, even though we are God, God is us, we are connected, there's no separation, all of that. It's actually not even, that's a mistranslation. It's not in the beginning.
That was so interesting. There were a couple of very core mistranslations as we were comparing, your vast knowledge and expertise in Hebrew, and then of course I have the indoctrination in English and the Christian religion that I was raised in, and the nuances. I've played with the nuances of words, and they're getting to know them at their root, and then getting to know them as a quantum mechanic. And your ability to bring to light where there is a more accurate translation, in the original language.
And it's Aramaic too. You know, we have so much more that
Aramaic,
connects us.
that's the
And it's really the original Christ language. I used to do this and speak of this when I would do interfaith weddings, because I'm also a non-denominational interfaith minister. And I would say, we have so much more in common. We have the same language. We have the same soul language, because Christ's language was Aramaic, which predates, you know, then there's biblical Hebrew and modern Hebrew, and they are connected. And it is important to know. It's like taking it, Mari, like you always do, take it back to Sanskrit, the language of consciousness. When you go back to the roots of these words, in Hebrew, the root is called the shoresh. It literally means the root of the word. To understand language, you're supposed to study the roots. That's why when I met you and you started talking that way, I went, oh yeah, I so got that. Are you kidding? I was happy to find someone who understood that, because it always felt more important to me than my rebbes or my teachers indicated. And so it's not in the beginning, for example, it's in a beginning. I mean, come on, that turns the whole
difference that makes, right? Because that fits with the blink of the now. Every now is a new beginning. It's a beginning. You can begin anew. It's so, sorry, I was just like, it fits with what you just said, that it's so important that we be open
the other one that really
to know everything anew, really.
Yeah.
And if it can stand in the light of free will, then we probably have got, you know, a good new path. Increasing.
And if it can't,
and there was another one
to consider more deeply. You know, if it doesn't stand in the light of free will, then we might have gotten that a little twisted somewhere, right? And the other one that I really even the seek and you shall receive, or ask and it is given, is another way. There's so many things, but the in a beginning, really from the very onset, it changes everything. And in the way when people look at Rosh Hashana and it's the Jewish New Year, technically the calendar starts in Nisan, which is my birthday month in April. That's really the beginning of the year. So why do they call this the beginning of the year? There are only 3 pilgrimage festivals. And I love the fact that they're called pilgrimage festivals, right? It evokes the concept that anything where you take a spiritual pilgrimage, a journey to yourself, is really the point. Those holidays are Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur are 2 of them. And they are, Rosh Hashana leading to Yom Kippur. And then there's Sukkot, Festival of Booths, and Shavuot in the spring. But Rosh Hashanah and the 10 days of awe, we've seen a lot of references right now in some of our channels about those dates and what's happening during those dates. The other name for this cycle, the holiday that celebrates rebirth cycle, introspection, rejuvenation, understanding, and taking a look at where have I gone wrong in relationship with myself, my source of divinity, my relationships with my family and my community and this planet. And it's a deep dive into all that. So I've actually always really loved and appreciated this holiday, but we have forgotten one of the translations of it. Hayom Harat Olam means the birthday of the world. So it's really referencing, if we break it down, the fact that this is called the holiday that is the birthday of the world. Why? Because it's when God, source, spirit, however we want to reference this, created Adam. Adam got translated as Adam, as in Adam and Eve. And the apple in the Garden of Eden is one of the symbols that represents the fruit. That which is created gives sustenance and nurturing. Fruit and honey the apple and honey are big symbols. And so is a round challah, the cycle, the year, the rebirth. But Adam is not the name Adam. It means man. This is the birthday of humanity. We are celebrating the birth of humanity. That's what's going on starting Friday evening through this Sunday, to coincide with the English dates don't match the Hebrew dates. People say, why do the Jewish holidays change every year? They don't. They're just on a different calendar. And even that reference to the other calendar, you know, it's just, I think it needed to be mentioned that we are celebrating the birth of humanity. That's your rebirth. That's mine. That's in the now. That's in this moment. That's why I wanted to
share. One of the other translations that I have felt so powerful about is the I am, and the common knowing of the translation is I am the way. And you shared with me that it wasn't there was a more accurate translation.
Yeah, it's not I am the way. It's I am is the way.
Such a difference.
Oh, yeah.
I am is the way. And then that fits again so much with just coming forward of how powerful an I am is.
Right.
And this certainly is a great time, kind of connecting our conversations to sit. I would offer sit and go, okay, who am I now? Who am I willing to be? And even to list out I ams. You offered that there was a couple of other things, and I think regardless of your origin of birth or philosophy, spiritual subscriptions, that there's things in this holiday that would be beneficial to anyone in the world, and to maybe embrace the energy that, this is a big collective kind of experience for so much of the world, and kind of some of the traditions otherwise, that you spoke to me about the forgiveness one. And so if you would, for me, let's just start there and just go back over, like, it begins on this date and it's 3 days of this, and then it's 10 days of
it
this.
technically started with slichot, which is literally does translate into a form of forgiveness, asking, seeking. And to me, it's all about what we do internally. Even in the prayer book, when I was full-time clergy and I would sing these prayers and chant them, I always translated them into what felt to be the authentic value of what those pieces were. I would always sing and chant in Hebrew, but we do read them in English as well. Slichot started on the Shabbat at midnight, actually, the late service. Well, we cheated. We did it at 10 p.m. because nobody stays up till midnight unless you're in the Orthodox communities. And that's when the gates open. Now, the funny thing is there are a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of beautiful metaphors. I don't take those completely literally. I take the energy of them, always have. So the gates open, we enter this period, we begin this month, we come to Rosh Hashana, we are celebrating the birth of humanity, we're honoring the fact that we are the birth givers, we are the world creators through the I am. And then we have 10 days between Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur. And that's the time that you are supposed to literally ask. When I grew up, it was, do you meichel me, which is, do you forgive me? You take accountability, you accept that you have responsibility, and that means the ability to have a response, as you and I have often spoken of. And you acknowledge and look at every relationship you have, starting with yourself, and then how yourself affects and ripples outwardly to everyone, to the all. And you take the moment to call your friends, call your family, do you forgive me? And it's less about, for I have sinned, because of course sin means more than we think it does. Even forgiveness means more than we think it does. But it is about acknowledging what that relationship looks like and where it can be improved, and recognizing that on Yom Kippur, the service that begins that holiday is called Kol Nidre, and it references a specific prayer that literally is almost like a legal boilerplate language of prayer that says, may all of the vows, promises, oaths, anything that I have said that I have not fulfilled and kept my word on, may it be considered null and void. It wipes the slate clean. So by the time the holiday ends the next night at sundown with Ne'ilah, the gates close. So everything that you have consciously done and said, spoken, meditated on between in those 10 days of awe is birthing the world again, is birthing you again, is birthing all of your relationships. And then it says, may you be inscribed in the book of life. And that's the Akashic Records, guys. That's, another conversation for another day. So we have
and actually, that which is being asked to be released, it can only be released if we allow it. And so I love that there's this kind of ceremony of the whole collective going into that intent to go ahead and create a clean slate, rebirth, create self anew, really, and to go ahead and honor the relationships and the volunteers that have, the co-creators and experience that they've been playing with. That just forget the name. Honor the name. Sorry. Regardless of the name.
True. It's move beyond the name.
Right. Well, I totally honor the name, and regardless what anyone might think about whatever name, about names, let me say that. That's just a good thing to do as an annual thing in humanity, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is a purging of.
Right. And, you know, I came up where we had a kind of little form of it on a Sunday, and it's such a different ceremony than what we've talked about and we're talking about here. And actually that next level of responsibility but everyone doing it, like, you know, okay, here I am, and I've had another human year, and we're getting this, and I'm learning and growing, you're learning and growing, and okay, let's call a clean slate and
It's a
begin.
very, very powerful experience to be in a congregation, especially, I really loved leading that congregation. So I want to say thank you for all the years, and for anyone that I have transgressed, sinned upon, etc. What I really mean is thank you for allowing me the opportunity to know myself anew, to know you anew, to celebrate the birth of humanity, and being an active participant in what that looks like. Mari and Anastasia, thank you so much for jumping on with me this morning. Again, you know where to find us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Celebrating. And I'll put on a little audio track of one of my favorite pieces at the end. I might sing a teeny bit of one of the songs.
I was just going to ask if you.
This is the song that a friend of mine, old friend of mine, wrote. Her name is Neshama Karlbach, and it was actually an arrangement of a piece that her late father wrote, a very famous man in the Jewish faith tradition, Rabbi Shlomo Karlbach. And it just speaks to the themes that we spoke about in this conversation. I'd like to offer it to you with the warmest, deepest, and most joyfully pervasive wishes for Shana Tova, for Happy New Year, and may we all rebirth humanity together. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you were born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Shana Tova.